Welcome to Therapy Facts with Dr. Jenn. Point number 7 in how to start therapy is that you may have to make several attempts before you find the right fit for your therapist. However, even if the fit isn't right or perfect, you can still get work done with the therapist that you choose. So, again, we know that what you do in therapy is paramount to the therapeutic process. The details you provide, the honesty you provide, the openness with which you approach the therapeutic process. That is what is most important. And so when you choose a therapist, you get to work on doing what you're supposed to do. However, and you will get benefit from that. And remember, benefit includes the fact that the therapy process calls for your experiences or your feelings to get worse before they get better. And then for you to learn how to do painful behaviors that you've never done before. So you can start this, we're going to call dirty work, if you will, with any ethical, competent, licensed therapist. However, as you move along in the process, you may decide that you want to work with a different type of therapist or a different person because of any and every reason. So you might find that you have start off with a therapist where you have a great relationship, and then your therapist seems to be distracted a lot, or he may be late a lot, or he may or she may cancel appointments, or they may be a little bit more demanding of you than they were before. So, and you might decide that that's uncomfortable. That's, they're trying to move you too quickly. The first thing you would want to do is you would want to address your concerns with the therapist very directly, understanding that it is their role to be able to take the feedback and then self correct, or even sometimes make a referral. That if they've gotten to a place in their own lives, because licensed therapists are people too. And so they can get to a point in their own lives where doing therapy may be too much for them for whatever reason. And so when you address your concern with them, they may, as I said, self-correct and or refer you out because their caseload is now too much for them. And so that's why I kept saying in the other video that it's important to find the therapist that is accepting new clients more so than some of the characteristics, because many times you have a lot of different types of therapists who are licensed under various boards, but because therapy is such a heavy lift, providing therapy is such a heavy lift, it may be tough to find therapists who are taking new clients. And you might be in a situation with a therapist who may need to thin their therapy load, and that may include you. And so, understanding that therapists are just people too, you might find yourself in a position where even a good fit therapist may require you to move on to someone else because of things changing in their lives. But even a therapist who may not be a good fit that you just decide to get started with can be a good place to start. And so as you get experience in therapy and you understand what you are looking for in a therapist, then you might find that this therapist just doesn't do it for you. And so it's okay to move on to another therapist. And to be honest with your new therapist, and even the therapist that you're moving away from, let them know, hey, I'm moving on because of these things. Now, again, some of the things may be something that they can change. The other may be it's just their personality. Like I said, therapists are people too. They're human. We're human. We have personalities, we have quirks, we have characteristics, and sometimes those characteristics and quirks and personalities may not fit, may not be you may feel like that package is not a good fit to help you do the work that you need to do. As you get experience, you'll become better at making that judgment, and you are free to move on. And your therapist can even help you move on, because as I said, you moving on is not an insult to a competent therapist, because we get it and we can even help you move on. So it's no need, I always say, come in and out, leave by the front door that you entered. You don't have to sneak away from a competent therapist. Now, if you run into a tricky situation with an incompetent therapist, because again, therapists are people too, then it's okay to sneak away as well. But if you have a competent therapist, I encourage you not to sneak away. I encourage you to leave by the front door that you entered. But just know that it's okay to move on from even a competent therapist to another therapist or two or three, depending upon what your needs are. Now, be careful again about doing a whole lot of movement, because you're still going with you. And so if you find yourself changing therapists because you're looking for someone who's going to tell you what you want to hear, you're looking for a less painful therapeutic experience, then you need to ask yourself, is this really what I should be doing? Or should I stick with this therapist, stick with a therapist, and work through this pain instead of jumping from therapist to therapist? But just know that you may need to move to multiple therapists in order to find, we're going to call, the best fit for you. Okay?